What if I told you that your body's first sign of danger isn't in your heart, isn't in your brain, it's right between your legs? And for men over 60, that softening down there might be your body's final warning before something serious breaks. But here's the good news: what starts there can also be healed there. Hi, I'm Dr. Max Cole. I'm a board-certified urologist, and for the past 30 years, I've had the honor of helping thousands of older men just like you reclaim the vitality, energy, and strength they thought they had lost forever. I've sat across from truck drivers and retired teachers, war veterans and grandpas, quiet men, proud men, good men who felt like something inside was slowly fading. But they weren't broken. They were just never shown how to listen to their bodies. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean decline. When you understand how circulation works, how testosterone shifts, how masturbation habits, urinary changes, and even the sleep patterns affect your entire system, that's when things begin to change. And today I want to give you something more than information. I want to give you a map, a way to restore blood flow, sexual health, energy, confidence, and yes, even that quiet strength you used to carry into every room. This journey is for every elderly man who's ever whispered to himself, "I just don't feel like me anymore." You're not alone, and it's not too late. If you appreciate heartfelt advice created for seniors, rooted in real science and human experience, I invite you to tap, like, subscribe to Life Over 50 Plus and join me. Because today we're not just talking about health tips. We're talking about reclaiming your dignity, your power, and your freedom. Let's begin. 1. The real reason circulation collapses. After 60, most men over 60 make the same quiet assumption that the changes they feel in their bodies are just part of getting older. They feel a little slower climbing stairs. They start waking up without that firm morning energy they once took for granted. Trips to the bathroom become more frequent. And intimacy, it shifts from a quiet joy into a quiet frustration. But instead of asking why, most men simply sigh and blame the calendar. That's just age, right? That's where we get it wrong. You see, as a urologist, I've spent over 30 years working with senior men, and I can tell you with certainty, it's not age that causes the collapse in circulation. It's unspoken warning signs that get ignored for too long. Science shows us that before any heart problem, before any stroke, there's a silent drop in blood flow starting in the smallest vessels in your body. And the very first place those vessels start to tighten is your pelvis. Yes, it starts with erectile dysfunction. But not because your masculinity is failing, because your body is whispering for help. When you experience reduced erections, weaker climax, or even urinary incontinence, it isn't just about sexual health. It's your cardiovascular system sending a signal. Something is blocking me. The decline of testosterone, the effect of stress, poor sleep, and even how frequently you engage in masturbation without proper semen retention, power, all of these affect your inner chemistry. These changes reduce nitric oxide, constrict your vessels, and quietly suffocate the energy you once knew so well. But there's hope, and it's not found in a prescription bottle. It starts with awareness. It starts by listening to your body with curiosity, not shame. Something as simple as walking for 5 minutes each morning or adjusting your diet to include natural nitric oxide boosters can start to restore what was lost. Exercise for seniors over 60 isn't about sweat and strain, it's about flow and freedom. Your manhood isn't a luxury, it's a gauge. And when it falters, it's your body's way of saying, "I need more oxygen. I need more life." I remember one patient, James, 67, quiet guy, former mechanic, came in because he felt like he'd run out of gas. We didn't rush him to pills or procedures. We walked backward, step by step, looking at his sleep, his stress, his long neglected habits. Within weeks of correcting just a few daily routines and introducing circulation-friendly foods, he said to me, "Doc, I feel like there's color coming back into my world." And his wife, she told me, "He's smiling again." I miss that. You see, healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It's breathing deeper, standing taller, feeling like yourself again. And it begins by recognizing that blood flow isn't just about performance, it's about survival. If any part of James' story felt familiar, if you've ever thought something's just off, I invite you to leave a comment below. You don't have to share details, just let us know you're here, because your voice might help another man realize he's not alone. And now that you understand where circulation collapse begins, let's talk about the one forgotten molecule inside your body that could flip the switch and help you turn back the clock on blood flow. 2. Nitric oxide, your body's forgotten fuel. Most men have never even heard of nitric oxide. And no, I'm not talking about the stuff they use at the dentist's office. I'm talking about a natural molecule your body used to make by the gallon, back when you were in your 30s and 40s. It's the silent spark behind everything you once took for granted: energy, erections, mental sharpness, confidence. But here's the problem. By the time you hit 60, your nitric oxide levels have dropped by more than 75%. And the result, you feel slower, foggier, weaker. And most importantly, your circulation, the very fuel line of your body, begins to stall. Nitric oxide is what tells your blood vessels to open up and stay flexible. When it flows freely, oxygen and nutrients are delivered smoothly to your heart, your brain, and yes, your manhood. But when it runs low, everything gets tighter. Your blood pressure goes up, your energy goes down, and your erections, they start to fade, not because of desire, but because your body physically can't carry enough blood to the right places. Now, here's the surprising part. Your body already knows how to make nitric oxide. It doesn't need a prescription or some fancy supplement. It needs a signal. And that signal starts with food, specifically foods rich in natural nitrates. But not the kind you'll find in bacon or processed meat. I'm talking about humble vegetables, beets, arugula, spinach. These aren't just salad fillers. They're circulation's best friend. And the good news, there's a simple way to make them even more powerful. When you consume beetroot in powdered form, concentrated and easy to absorb, and combine it with a pinch of black pepper, you create a natural synergy that helps your body absorb every drop of nitrate and convert it into nitric oxide almost instantly. 1 tablespoon a day. Just that. And for many men, that small habit brings back warmth in the fingers, firmness in the morning, and clarity in the mind. I still remember Harold, one of my favorite patients from Indiana. Retired school principal, always sharp with words, but lately his eyes had lost their sparkle. He said, "Doc, I just don't feel electric anymore. I feel dull." I introduced him to the nitric oxide protocol. Nothing fancy, just the right beetroot blend before lunch each day. After 2 weeks, his tone had changed. His color was brighter. He even said, "My wife told me my hugs feel stronger again." And to Harold, that meant everything. You see, restoring nitric oxide isn't just about boosting blood. It's about reconnecting to who you were before fatigue, frustration, and forgetting crept in. It's one of the most underused men's health tools I've ever seen in my practice. And it's completely in your control. If you've never heard of nitric oxide until today, that's okay. But if this struck a chord with you, if something in your gut said this might be what I've been missing, I invite you to comment below with just the word aware. It tells me you're listening. It tells me you're ready to feel like yourself again. Next, I want to walk you through one food that acts like rocket fuel for nitric oxide, and the mistake most men make that ruins its power before it ever reaches their bloodstream. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. 3. The #1 food that restores nitric oxide. When I tell my patients that one of the most powerful tools to restore blood flow is hiding right in the produce aisle, they usually blink at me in disbelief. Beets, doc. Seriously, I've been walking past those for years, and I smile because that's exactly the point. The most effective solution for senior circulation is also the most overlooked. What? Because men over 60 have been conditioned to chase cures in the bottles, not roots. But here's the science behind the truth. Beets are loaded with dietary nitrates. Once inside your body, those nitrates convert into nitric oxide, the very molecule we just talked about. That means more flexibility in your blood vessels, more blood flow to your brain, your heart, and yes, your manhood. More life where it's needed most. The kind that improves erectile function without medication, boosts testosterone naturally, and gives you the energy to take on your day. Not bad for a vegetable that most people think of as rabbit food. Now here's the part most men get wrong. When you cook beets, especially boiling or roasting them, you destroy a large portion of those precious nitrates. That means even if you're eating beets every day, you may not be getting the real benefits. That's why I recommend beetroot powder instead. It's concentrated, shelf-stable, and far more bioavailable. And when you mix it with a small pinch of black pepper, which contains a compound called piperine, it becomes even more powerful. Piperine helps your body absorb nitric oxide precursors up to 2,000% better. Just 1 tablespoon of beetroot powder, a small shake of black pepper, and 8 ounces of water. That's it. Drink it 30 minutes before your largest meal of the day, ideally lunch when digestion is strongest. It takes less than a minute, and for many of my senior patients, it becomes a moment of quiet confidence. A small ritual with big rewards. Let me tell you about Curtis, 72 years old, former truck driver. Tough hands, quiet voice. He came to see me because he was tired of waking up 5 times a night to pee. He told me, "I haven't had morning wood in years, doc. I just want to feel like a man again." I gave him the beetroot powder and pepper combo. Nothing else. 1 week later, he called me not to talk about erections, not to talk about stamina. He called to say he felt alive. He said, "I don't know what's in that red powder, but I finally slept through the night. I feel warm again, like something's flowing." That's the power of blood. That's the power of nitric oxide. Now I'm not promising miracles, but I am offering something better. A path back to the man you used to be. If you're curious to try it, just comment below with the word beet. You don't have to say anything else. It's just your quiet way of saying, "I'm ready." And if you want the beet protocol to actually work, if you want the full benefits, there's one more thing you need to know. Something most men do every day that unknowingly blocks their progress, no matter how clean they eat. In the next section, I'll show you what happens inside your body in the first 7 days of circulation recovery, and how to avoid the biggest mistake that ruins it for most. 4. What happens to your body in the first 7 days? Every time a man starts the circulation protocol, beetroot, black pepper, the small shifts in daily rhythm. I always get the same question: how long until I feel something, Bach? And my answer is always the same: sooner than you think, if you pay attention. See, when you're over 60, you've lived long enough to know that real change doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's just a quiet moment when you realize you're not as tired as usual. You didn't get up 3 times to pee. You walked to the mailbox and didn't lose your breath. You woke up with something you haven't felt in a while. That's how it starts. The first 24 hours are about hydration and oxygen. That small glass of beetroot starts expanding blood vessels. Your hands may feel warmer. Your brain might feel a little less foggy. You're not healed yet, but something's waking up. By day 3, most men feel a shift in their morning routine. They're not dragging out of bed. Bathroom visits are shorter. They're breathing deeper without realizing it. Some describe it as a spark. Others call it coming back online. And by day 7, that's when the real change begins. Let me tell you about Russell. He's 69, Vietnam vet, proud grandpa of 7. He sat across from me one morning and said, "Doc, I didn't tell my wife I was trying this, but this morning she looked at me and said, 'Your face looks different, brighter.'" He wasn't doing anything extreme, just the powder, the breathing, the walking, the sleeping better. But here's the key: Russell noticed the change because he allowed himself to slow down and feel it. He paid attention to his body's signals, something too many men ignore. Now I want to be honest with you. If you go back to your old habits, heavy dinners, shallow breathing, no movement, it's like turning off the faucet just when water finally started flowing. That's why this isn't just about one supplement or one food. It's about a system, a rhythm, a new way of living in partnership with your body instead of pushing it past its limits. So let me ask you gently, have you felt a shift in your body lately? Even something small? If so, I'd love to hear it. Type day 1 or day 3 in the comments and let me know where you are in your journey. Your story might be the nudge another man needs to begin. Now, if you're ready to go even deeper, if you want to amplify your results, recover faster, and keep your circulation strong, the next step is to layer in supporting habits that take everything you've started and multiply it. And don't worry, they're simple. No gym memberships, no expensive gadgets, just 3-4 tiny tweaks that make all the difference. Let's talk about those next. 5. Supporting habits that 10x your circulation recovery. I'll tell you something I've learned after 30 years sitting across from senior men in small offices, quiet kitchens, and rehab rooms across this country. Healing isn't just about what you add, it's also about what you support. You can take the right drink, eat the right foods, even restore nitric oxide in your system. But if your daily habits are quietly working against you, you'll always feel like you're walking uphill in wet boots. That's why I don't just hand out powders. I give my patients a rhythm, a set of doable real-world practices that amplify every benefit and protect the results they're finally starting to feel. Let me walk you through the 4 habits I ask every man over 60 to adopt. First, the 3-minute contrast. Shower. I know it sounds uncomfortable. Warm water for 1 minute, then cold water for 30 seconds. Repeat twice. But this vascular workout is like sending your blood vessels to the gym. The shock of temperature forces them to expand and contract, training them to become more flexible and responsive. It boosts circulation, especially in areas where blood flow tends to stall: your hands, feet, brain, and yes, your pelvic region. One of my patients, Frank, 67, told me it was the first time in years he felt truly awake in the morning. Second, the 5-minute senior walk. Not a jog, not a march, just a slow, steady walk around the yard or even the hallway while focusing on heel-to-toe motion. Your calf muscles are what I call the second heart. They help pump blood upward from the legs back to the torso, right to the organs. Men over 60 need the most support in. It's not about cardio, it's about circulation. Third, belly breathing, 3 times a day. 6 seconds in through the nose, 4-second hold, 8 seconds out through the mouth. This may sound small, but deep breathing delivers more oxygen, reduces stress hormones, and it opens blood vessels naturally. Most elderly men don't realize how shallow their breathing becomes with age. This one practice resets your nervous system, especially for those dealing with erectile dysfunction, urinary incontinence, or emotional fatigue. Finally, your sleep posture. Yep, even how you sleep matters. Your position, your room temperature, your pillow height. I ask my patients to sleep on their backs with a slight elevation under the knees in a cool, dark room. That's when your body restores nitric oxide levels, balances testosterone, and repairs your vascular lining. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. Little practices done consistently send your body the same message over and over again. You're safe. You can heal now, and trust me, your body's listening. One man named Earl, a retired Navy mechanic, told me after 3 weeks of combining these with his beetroot protocol, he didn't just feel better, he felt stronger. He said, "It's like someone turned the lights back on inside me." Now let me gently ask you, which of these habits sounds doable for you? Let me know in the comments. Just say walk, shower, or breathe. I read every one, and sometimes your response is exactly what another man needs to hear to take that first step. And now that you've got the foundation, the drink, the movement, the breath, the sleep, what you need next is a daily plan. One that you can follow from the moment you wake up to the moment your head hits the pillow. Nothing complicated, just structure. Because when your life has rhythm, healing becomes your default. Let me show you how to put all this into motion, starting with the 7-day circulation reset plan. Shall we continue? 6. The 7-day circulation reset plan. Sometimes the hardest part of healing isn't the doing, it's the knowing what to do first. I've seen it time and again. A good man gets inspired, hears something that makes sense, feels that flicker of hope. But when it's time to take action, he's left staring at a cabinet full of bottles, a calendar full of confusion, and a heart full of hesitation. That's why I built the 7-day circulation reset plan. Not a theory, not a bunch of rules, just one simple path you can walk day by day that restores blood flow, energy, and yes, your spark. Let's walk through it like I would with any patient sitting across from me. Day 1, morning hydration. Start with 16 ounces of room temperature water. Add a pinch of sea salt. Why? Because older men are often dehydrated without realizing it, and your blood can't flow well if it's thick and sluggish. Water wakes up the bloodstream. Salt tells your adrenal glands it's safe to function. Right after that, contrast shower. Warm, cold, warm. 3 minutes total. You're not just cleaning your skin, you're activating your vessels. You're telling your arteries, wake up, we've got work to do today. Mid-morning, deep breathing. 3 rounds. Slow, purposeful. You'll feel a calm begin to stretch across your chest like sunshine after a long night. Your brain gets sharper. Your heart rate settles. Before lunch, the beetroot drink. 1 tablespoon beetroot powder. A pinch of black pepper. 8 ounces of water. Drink slowly like it matters, because it does. Afternoon. A 5-minute walk. Even if it's just to the mailbox and back. Focus on how your feet land. Feel the movement in your calves. Let your muscles do what they were made to do, pump blood upward. Evening light dinner. No overeating. A glass of water. No caffeine. Dim the lights. Tell your nervous system you're safe. You can rest. Right before bed. Breathing. Again. Lie on your back. Knees slightly elevated. Room cool and quiet. This is when the healing locks in. This is where testosterone rebuilds, arteries repair, and semen retention power becomes a real possibility, not just a theory. Now repeat this rhythm for 7 days. Just 7. That's how long it took for my patient Bill, 72 years old, skeptical as hell, to call me and say, "Doc, I don't know if it's in my head, but I swear I feel clearer, stronger, even down there." And it's not in his head, it's in his bloodstream. That's what happens when you stop forcing your body to surfing and start showing it how to thrive. So let me ask you gently, what's stopping you from trying this for just 7 days? You've got nothing to lose and a whole lot of life to gain. If you've ever tried a rhythm like this, or if you're willing to give it a shot, drop a like or a let's go in the comments. You never know who's reading and waiting to begin. Now, if you really want to lock in these gains and keep your blood vessels young, flexible, and free-flowing, there's one more secret I need to share. A group of natural superfoods that act like daily medicine but without the side effects. Ready to discover them? Let's go there next. 7. Bonus circulation. Superfoods to rotate weekly. By now you've got a rhythm. You're hydrating, breathing, moving. You've committed to 7 days and maybe just maybe something stirring. A little warmth in your hands, a deeper sleep, a quiet return of confidence in places you thought were gone for good. But here's the beautiful truth I've learned after 30 years in urology: the men who go beyond the basics, the ones who nourish their bodies like they would a beloved garden, they don't just feel better, they feel reborn. And they do it with food, not pills, not powders, but real powerful foods that speak the language of your arteries. Let me walk you through a few of my favorites, the superfoods I've seen restore not only blood flow, but dignity, strength, and senior wisdom in men who thought their best days were behind them. Let's start with something bold: raw garlic. Not cooked, not minced into a sauce. I mean crushed raw. Let it sit for 10 minutes after smashing it with the back of a knife. That activates allicin, the compound that relaxes blood vessels and lowers inflammation. One of my patients, a stoic former truck driver named Ron, told me, "Doc, it smells awful, but damn if it doesn't make me feel 20 years younger." He wasn't wrong. Then there's pomegranate juice, but the real stuff. Not the sugary blends, just pure dark red juice on an empty stomach in the morning. Within a week, I've had men tell me they're sleeping deeper, thinking clearer, and even performing better with their partner. Why polyphenols? They protect the delicate lining of your blood vessels and help your body stay elastic just like it was when you were 40. Now let's talk about watermelon rind. Yes, the part you've been throwing away your whole life. It's packed with citrulline, which your body converts into arginine, a direct precursor to nitric oxide. Blend it into your smoothie. You won't taste it, but your circulation will feel it. And don't forget the leafy greens, not just for your heart, but your manhood too. Arugula, spinach, kale, raw is best. These greens are full of dietary nitrates that your body uses to fuel the nitric oxide cycle. You want erections that come back with strength. You want testosterone to find its rhythm again. Then feed the engine what it's asking for. I've had dozens of older men tell me the same thing. I started adding these into my meals, and I swear I feel sharper. Like my mind and my body are syncing up again. That's not a placebo. That's nutrition doing what it was meant to do, restore circulation naturally and completely. But here's the key. Don't try to do it all at once. Pick 1 or 2 superfoods a week. Rotate them in. Listen to your body. It will tell you what's working through your sleep, your energy, your erections, your mood. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction, about feeding your body with purpose, not guilt. So let me gently ask you, what's one superfood from this list you're willing to try this week? And more importantly, how would your life change if you simply felt good again? If that stirred something in you, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share in this final section isn't about food or breathing or even circulation. It's about freedom. The kind of freedom you deserve to feel again, no matter your age. Let's talk about that next. Final advice from Dr. Max Cole. You've made it this far, and that tells me something powerful about you. You're not a man who gives up easily. You've faced your share of losses, watched the mirror change, felt the silence of things not working the way they used to. And yet, here you are, still searching, still learning, still willing to believe that something better is possible. Let me tell you something I wish every man over 60 could hear, not just from a doctor, but from someone who sat across from thousands of men like you, heart to heart. Jing is not the enemy. Giving up is. And what most doctors don't say, what too many of us forget, is that there's a spark inside every senior man that doesn't die with age. It only dims from neglect. But that spark, it can be reignited, not with more pills, not with shame or guilt, but with choice. A choice to believe your body still wants to fight for you. A choice to listen, really listen to the early whispers your blood vessels are sending. A choice to say, I matter, my health matters. My pleasure, my presence, my purpose, they still belong to me. Because here's the deeper truth I've seen again and again. Men who care for their circulation tend to care for their entire life differently. They walk taller, they breathe easier, they smile more. They touch their loved ones with more tenderness, more presence. And yes, they begin to reclaim something sacred, their identity as a man, not just in the bedroom, but in their own soul. That's why I talk about things like masturbation, semen retention, power, erectile dysfunction, and urinary incontinence. Not to embarrass you, but to free you. To remind you that sexual health isn't a luxury, it's a signal, a mirror, a reflection of how your entire system is functioning or failing. So if there's one final truth I could leave you with, it's this: you were not built to fade. You were built to adapt, to recover, to thrive, even now, especially now. But that future doesn't happen by accident. It begins with action, small, faithful steps, just like the ones we've talked about here today. And if even one moment in this video made you pause, if one sentence felt like it was meant for you, then take that as your invitation to begin. Start today. Drink the beetroot, walk the 5 minutes, breathe deeply, sleep with intention, eat with purpose. You are not 2PR9, you are not past your prime. You are a man with years ahead, and those years can still be vibrant, strong, and deeply meaningful. If any of this touched your heart, if you feel even a flicker of hope stirring again, tap like. Subscribe to Life Over 50 Plus so we can keep walking this journey together. And share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one because your voice matters. And sometimes the courage to speak up is the first act of healing. You've already come this far. Why not take one more step? Your body is listening. And I believe with everything in me that your best years may still be ahead. Let's walk toward them together. Dr. Max Cole, urologist, 30 plus years of experience. I'll see you in the next video.